20 years since we've lost Gush Katif, since the disengagement plan, since George W. Bush forced our Prime Minister, Ariel Sharon, to destroy every Jewish community in the Gaza region and to withdraw Israeli forces from Gaza. Not only Gaza, Bush insisted on also including 4 communities in the northern Shomron, in the northern West Bank, in order to make it clear that the policy won't stop at Gaza, that it would continue, it would have momentum and continue in the West Bank. In fact, that's what Ariel Sharon was planning to do until he got his stroke, and that's something that his successor, Ehud Olmert, tried to carry out when he took power, when he became prime minister, but it didn't work out, largely because we saw very quickly that the disengagement had been a mistake. So when we talk about Gaza, right, when we talk about disengagement, when we talk about Gush Katif, I mean, a lot of people today don't remember Gush Katif. Like, I was there. I used to spend Shabbatot there. I used to bring students there for programs. I knew a lot of Jews who lived there. And when I moved here, when I moved to this country, Gaza was part of Israel in the same way that Hebron is part of Israel, in the same way that Beit El is part of Israel, in the same way that Kedumim is part of Israel, and Male Adumim is part of Israel. Like, it was just part of Israel. And now it's like related to is almost foreign territory in our minds, because Hamas has controlled it for almost 2 decades. And what's really become clear from this war, and we see it with the day after plan, that or lack of day after plan, right? For a long time, President Biden was trying to force Prime Minister Netanyahu to agree to some kind of day after plan. What would be following the war, right? And what Biden ideally would have wanted to see, and what President Trump might want to see as well, is the Palestinian Authority ruling Gaza, or some coalition of Arab nations ruling Gaza. Right? I think the reason why Prime Minister Netanyahu avoided that conversation is because it's very clear to him and to most Israelis that Israel needs to rule Gaza. That the only way for us to be able to protect ourselves is for Israel to control Gaza. Now, the truth is, even after the disengagement for the last 20 years, we have controlled Gaza, meaning we controlled its borders, we controlled its airspace, we controlled its shores, just not inside. Inside, Hamas is ruling. And we're not willing to allow that anymore. Now, for me, it's not a security issue. It's not an issue of how can we best defend ourselves. It's important. But for me, what's really important is that Gaza is part of our homeland. What happened in 2005 was an injustice, and what we should understand is that we still have to correct that injustice, and the only way to correct that injustice is to rebuild Gush Katif, is to rebuild the Jewish communities that were destroyed in Gaza. Now, ideally, we could do this in a way that works out nicely for Palestinians living in Gaza too. Right? But we have to go back. That has to happen. Gaza can't be some separate political entity. It needs to be part of the state of Israel. And we need to be able to live there again. And through years of struggle, Jews have returned to Chomesh. The disengagement law banning Jews from northern Shomron was repealed, right? This took years. And I'm confident B'ezrat Hashem will go back to Gaza. And I think what is expected by Prime Minister Netanyahu, maybe certain other ministers in the government, is that Israel will hold the territory and there will be Jews, maybe led by Daniela Weiss or other people, who will attempt to go back and rebuild Yishuvim, rebuild the Jewish communities that were destroyed, and they'll fail, and they'll be pushed out by the army, just like in Chomesh many times, and eventually they'll go back and stay. Right? When the right political conditions exist for the government just to be like, okay, let them stay this time, and then legalize the Yishuv. But we can't delude ourselves into thinking that we can forget about Gaza. We have to return to Gaza. And this is something that we should have known for a long time. This is something that I've known for a long time. I haven't given up on Gaza, meaning even the struggle against the disengagement never ended for me. I never stopped struggling to go back to Gaza. But it could be that for us to actually go back to Gaza, just like for us to be able to keep Judea and Samaria in a correct way, we might need to reimagine and recreate our relationships with the Palestinians. Right? We might need to imagine something different.